It is with great delight that I get to announce that Shamiko is back. I've absolutely missed Shamiko so much. Starting up the second season of The Demon Girl Next Door was super exciting for me. Having that opening scene and Shamiko stand up and say something absolutely absurd. It was just, I love it. It's funny because The Demon Girl Next Door is kind of one of those series where you love it so much, but you never really imagine that it will get enough attention or enough cause to have a second season. And obviously when the second season was announced for the series, I was super excited to have this series back. But this is my first impressions of the second season, so let's jump right into it. For those unfamiliar with the series, it follows Yuko, or as we call it, Shamiko, and she awakens one day to have horns and a tail, and she comes to find out from her mother that, oh yeah, she's from a family of this dark clan, this clan of demons, basically. And at some point in the past, some sort of magical girl or somebody from this light clan essentially has cursed their family into poverty, essentially. So the whole idea is that they will always be poor because there's like this debt that will be placed upon them, so they never get enough money, so they're always living in poverty. But Shamiko also finds out that the way to remove this curse is that she has to find the magical girl and defeat them. Well, one day she ends up stumbling upon this magical girl, and the funny thing that kind of turns out is this magical girl is really nice. So far that Shamiko is like super weak. She just awakened. She doesn't have her full potential. This magical girl actually offers to help train her. That's how nice she is. So it's kind of this goofy thing where Shamiko wants to remove this curse. She wants to help her family, but at the same time, the magical girl is really nice, and every attempt to kind of overcome the magical girl ends up either her, essentially realizing that she's really nice, or her just kind of failing because the magical girl is so powerful. This continues on. She meets other magical girls, and eventually, most of the case is kind of just a funny back and forth, very skip-based, very 4-comma manga style story here, but it did start to build up something very interesting at the end of the first season, where Shamiko essentially finds out the fate of her father, gets to find out about this other magical girl, this sister of Momo, who is the magical girl, and how everything essentially is tied together, this barrier that is placed upon the city itself that essentially prevents both magical girls and demons from finding each other. It seems like somebody in the past was essentially helping the demons by preventing the magical girls from being able to find them. And that's sort of the thing they kind of leave us with the end of the first season. As I kind of mentioned with my review of the first season, I really did love the comedy and everything that was presented in the show, but it was really interesting to have some sort of hook, something of an overall story that was actually kind of interesting. You kind of expect coming into a series like this, it's just going to be shenanigans, it's going to be comedy, but it actually had some thought put into the actual characters and their backstories and what everything their families was kind of put through in the past. Well, getting to the second season, first episode opening up pretty much the same flavor, although kind of reintroducing us to a couple of those themes. Shamiko obviously bringing up to Mikan this idea of all these things she wants to do. She wants to find Momo's sister, this magical girl from her past. She wants to find other demons to see if they have information about her. She also wants to help her father, who is a box right now. And yes, she still wants to make Momo her vassal. She wants to make Momo some sort of familiar underneath her power. What gets me into my thoughts of the first season so far with this first episode, the first thing that I noticed very quickly, and it's something I had to kind of go back and check by rewatching some episodes of the first season, is the pacing is a lot faster with the second season. I'm not sure if it's possibly because it's opening up this first episode, trying to get enough attention to certain things and trying to speed through some stuff before they get into the actual season proper, but it did feel a lot faster. Almost too much for me. I was kind of on the borderline with it. I'm not mad that it was a little bit fast, but at the same time, it didn't feel right. It felt a little bit too fast-paced for my taste. But despite that, the thing that I'm happy about with this first episode is it kind of reestablished everything that I really loved about the first season. Great characters, some solid comedy points, some really funny laugh-out-loud moments, and additionally, the charm that the first season had. And that's the only thing that I kind of fear about the fast pacing, because I feel like the fast pacing can kind of ruin that charm. And what I mean by that charm is these a little extra effects that JC Staff would add into the show itself. This is something that I kind of described as being one of the things that I love so much about the first season, is the work that JC Staff and the directors and everybody put into the show itself. There was a lot of audio cues and sound effects that they would put in the background that really added an extra little cuteness and charm to all the scenes. You would have the characters fretting, and you would have like a fret noise happening with the little visual characters in the background. It was really cute, and it added a little extra charm to the show. Additionally, the characters are still fantastic. Shamiko is an absolute dork. She's way cute. I love her to death. She's definitely best girl. Momo, obviously, as always, being kind of that more centered character, but really kind of socially awkward character that I really do adore. And then, yes, having more inclusion of Mikan, who we kind of learned about more towards the later part of the first season, but seems like she's more of a focus coming forward right now, because obviously it seems like the three of them together want to focus on finding Sakura, which is Momo's sister. And I also think that's going to be more prevalent too, because technically now they're all neighbors. Apparently everybody wanted to move into this ruined down apartment that unfortunately Shamiko has to live in because of the debt issues that they have. But yeah, having them all there, they're having conversations and they can hear each other from the other houses because the walls are so thin, which is technically a thing in Japan. Getting more into Mikan's sort of quirk that she likes to put like super amounts of anything citrus inside of things to make it super sour, and the fact that okay, we're going to greater lengths here than ever before. Obviously, we've always had the trope of the character who's terrible at cooking. But do we really have to go so far as that Momo's so bad at cooking, just cracking eggs into a bowl, it turns into a purple unknown liquid? I, for some reason, got a huge kick out of that. It's like, we went that far. Having Momo upset about the idea of bringing some gifts to kind of be a neighbor housewarming gift, and she's like afraid of bringing a box thing because father's a box. So she says, I don't know what I should do, and the mother just busts in and says, what are you doing here? I heard it through the walls. You could bring us coupons for rice. It's just is kind of highlighting all the goofy quirks that we kind of established for the first season, just really jumping right back into it. And like I said, I love it. I cannot get enough of it. As I said before, if you have not watched the first season, I highly recommend checking it out. It's just a very cute and fun show with really lovable characters, which is a really great way of adapting it to add extra charm to each of the scenes. Like I said, a little more fast-paced this time around, but hopefully that kind of slows down as they get into the further episodes. And Shamiko not changing. I really do get a kick out of her wanting to write a letter of challenge, claiming that she still wants Momo to be her vassal, and the teacher claiming that her ancestor is not a good influence on her, and then helping her write up this big old letter about being her mistress and stuff. It's just super cute. I really do love it. I cannot wait for more. The intro has a lot of characters kind of introduced with it, so I'm really curious to see those characters. So we'll see how it goes. But that's my thoughts on the first episode of Shamiko, the greatest series ever. No, I'm sorry. The Demon Girl Next Door second season. Hope you guys enjoyed this impressions. If you did, leave a like down below, comment. Let me know what you think of the series. If you've been checking it out, have you watched this first season? Do you really enjoy this series? Are you a fan of Shamiko like I am? Subscribe if you haven't already. We'll be doing coverage of all the shows this season, doing first impressions on all of them, so definitely stay tuned for that. Also, I cover news, top list of every single year. I think I'm back at 2018 at this point. If it's anime, it's here. If you want to support us, additionally, we have a Patreon and tips link in the description below. We definitely appreciate everybody that does, and y'all take care.